It's YourJax Fantasy Football Time, episode number 1. Hopefully you're enjoying the first day of college football, but we're here to talk some NFL football. Mike Dempsey from 1010XL and SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. I'm TJ Stride from CW17, and we have you covered all fantasy season long. 5 quarters worth, that's right, fast-paced, timely, and 4 quarters of straight fantasy action, plus a bonus section on YourJax.com where you can get Mike's tidbits for the upcoming games tomorrow night. This is our draft special. We want to get you primed Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, a lot of drafts taking place, so pay attention. I think that's the most important
thing. Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, we're down to the wire now. Probably a lot of people have had a lot of drafts, but there's still a lot of work being done now. We kick off the season a day early, so it's crunch time, man. Let's get into it.
Mike just went through about 5 guys who were assuredly not even on roster. So if you've already had your draft, stay tuned for the next 30 minutes. First quarter brought to you by Football Fanatics, 2 stores in Jacksonville, Orange Park and Avenues Mall. The most comprehensive sporting apparel and team inventory in town. Gators, Knowles, Jags, Canes, Bulldogs, they got you covered. Quarterbacks, let's go straight into it. We're fast-paced. Top 5 of the quarterbacks, easily the elite group. How people have them ranked is another story.
That is the question, because I think the top 5 have been easily distinguished right now. For me, I rank them Tom Brady number 1. The weapons are too good to overlook. Look, Aaron Rodgers goes number 1 in most drafts because of the running ability, and I think that adds to something. But for me, I'll put Matthew Stafford number 3. I just think with the lack of a viable running game right now in Detroit, he's going to air it out all season long. He threw for 5,000 last year. I'll go Cam Newton number 4. I like his mobility. I like him at the goal line, being the goal line back for Carolina, over Drew Brees, who comes in at the 5 spot.
And Drew Brees, they had the turmoil in the offseason. You like Stafford, got dinged up a little bit. They say it's nothing, not much to do about nothing. He'll be ready to go week 1.
Look, anybody can get dinged up. Stafford does have a history, though. We know that. It's the left non-throwing hand. So I guess that's about as good of an injury you can have if you're a quarterback. He's got Megatron. Megatron could go for 2,000 this year.
Okay, that's the easy part. If you get one of the elite 5, you're styling. You will have to back him up with running backs and wide receivers. But the bottom 5, which one of those on the bottom 5 can get and vault into that top 5 value?
Well, clearly, you look at Matt Ryan, who's probably the consensus number 6 now. I think he is that guy, and he's being drafted as such. He's the next one. But the thing about him is the value there. You can wait around 2 rounds, maybe even 3 rounds in some cases. In some cases, Vic goes before him. Rivers goes before him. Romo goes before him. Still like Vic as well when you consider that he was a first-round pick in a lot of leagues last year. The upside's too good.
Yeah, and Matt Ryan, people fall in love. There's a lot of media out there about fantasy football. You're looking at 2 of them. As far as Michael Vick, though, he's going the opposite way, and they could end up right there from a fantasy points perspective, right there within 10 or 15 points, which you're talking about a point or 2 a week.
Well, the thing that makes Michael Vick and a lot of other quarterbacks so valuable is that rushing yardage. We know that's what separates him. He's like having a player and a half on the field. And look, Vic could get hurt. Ryan could get hurt. We know Vic is a guy, he's small. We've seen him get hurt in the preseason, and you roll with him. You know when he's in your lineup, though, he's probably among the top 5 guys points per week on average.
I will say Michael Vick, when he came back last year for his final 3 or 4 weeks there of the regular season, only rushed for 3 yards. Andy Reid really tried to keep him in the pocket. We'll see if he can keep that up for an entire season.
Yeah.
Second 10 are intriguing because you have some guys who are just sitting there in the 9th, the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th rounds. Who do you like from the second 10?
Well, at this point, I think Peyton Manning's average draft position would have risen a lot more than it has because he's shown to be healthy now. He's locked in with Eric Decker. He's got Demaryius Thomas. The only thing holding Manning back is the lack of the deep ball. He hasn't shown that in the preseason, but Peyton Manning is going so ridiculously late right now. If he were 100% healthy, if there were no concerns, I think he's at worst a 3rd-round pick. Right now, you can get him maybe as your 10th quarterback off the board, sometimes in the 7th round. Other guys, look, there's the stalwarts like Ben Roethlisberger, Jay Cutler, that kind of level of player. A lot of guys will wait on quarterback, grab a couple of them, but I think Manning stands out right now.
Jay Cutler's one. I want to touch on a guy, RG3, and I just want to get your outlook. People are polar in him. You know, he's a rookie, but he has the Cam Newton touch from last year. Where do you sit?
Well, that's the thing. He's not the same exact kind of guy, even though he's a very mobile guy. His mobility comes more in a straight line. He's not a guy who's going to bowl you over and make you miss as much as Cam. I think people are buying into that hype, though. I would draft him ahead of my safe guy. I'd draft RG3 maybe in the 7th round, something like that. Come back with a Joe Flacco, somebody you know is going to be steady. I like the upside of RG3. In fact, I've seen Manning and RG3 paired very effectively in a lot of drafts.
And you really like that.
I do.
Sleeper alert. We have a sleeper alert courtesy of the sleep number out at St. John's Town Center, and this is your special one. You love this guy. You think he can, in fact, be that Cam Newton of this year.
Well, how many guys won their league last year because they got Cam Newton in the last round, very late, undrafted, whatever the case, spend a late-round pick on Russell Wilson, and he could pay off the same way. He showed dynamic athleticism, great running ability in the preseason, and a command of the game that very few rookies have. This guy looks like a natural. He's going to be dropped in as the leader in Seattle, and they're going to be playing from behind a good bit.
First quarter almost down. I just want to, from a draft strategy standpoint and where people are putting their quarterbacks, it is so deep this year. So, I mean, if you can if you can just wait and stick to that depth, you can find some value in those running backs and wide receivers, which we're going to talk about in quarter 2 and 3.
Pound those other positions early is usually, I think, the way to go.
We'll be back. You have plenty more to come. Mike Dempsey, TJ Stripe back with YourJax Fantasy Football right after this.